let's get back to Wineville. Everybody, go watch it.
It's a horror film. It's not for the faint at heart.
It's your first time directing and producing it, correct?
Yeah.
It's a big freaking deal.
Well, it's based in 1978. My character, Tess, she ran away when she's about 15 years old because of some horrific things that happened to her at her family home, which is on a vineyard. Years later, she got a call that her father had passed away, and now she has an 11-year-old son and has to come back and take care of the family estate. And when she comes back, she learns that everything has just darkened and festered and gotten worse.
Please just let me go.
And now not only does she have to escape herself, but now she has to do everything she can to save her son. Messed up, screwed up, serial killer family. Will they get out alive? I don't know.
Shawn French, what up? This one's luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time. I confirmed it. A whole society determined success.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Shawn French. Before I introduce today's guest, please feel free to hit the follow button on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and share this episode with a friend that you know would get a lot out of the conversation. So today I have with me Brande Roderick. She's a 2001 Playmate of the Year. She is now a director and producer of her own movies. She's an author. She's been in many films, and she's just an incredible businesswoman. So today you're going to hear a lot of her story and what she's doing now. And so without further ado, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going, Shawn?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Doing really good.
I'm feeling kind of like we probably should have flown a plane out there and done this in your bar. I mean, look at that. Look at that bar.
Yes, I could have made you like a really cool martini, a whiskey drink.
Whiskey, yes.
You like whiskey?
I do.
Yeah,
I do
good.
like whiskey.
Gosh, I know. It's like, some people have like, oh, they love desserts, it's like, their downfall. But for me, it's like whiskey is my dessert. Like, I love it. I love having a good nightcap after dinner.
Oh, man. I wish, for me, I would be like, I wish that was my downfall. For me, Brande, if I have one piece of chocolate, I have 17.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
It's
okay.
bad. And drinks, I can be like, all right, that was a good drink and I could be done.
Yeah. Okay. Probably.
Well, you're lucky. You're lucky.
Oh.
Right? Oh my goodness gracious. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You've had such an amazing career. You've done multiple things. And what I like to do in the first couple minutes of every show is allow the guest to kind of give the audience a little bit of a background on them for those that may not know exactly who you are. They may not, if they saw some epic scenes, they would know exactly who you are. But Starsky and Hutch, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was like, wait, that was her. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But listen, so please take the time to educate the audience on who Brande Roderick is.
Well, I'm just a small town girl from Northern California. But I always grew up wanting to be an actress and started at a very young age doing, like little plays for the neighborhood parents and kids and little things like that. I went to college and my minor was in theater and did as much as I could in the San Francisco area as far as like independent films and TV shows like Nash Bridges and, like I was in The Rock and Metro and all these different big films that come there like as an extra, right? But you can only go so far not being in Hollywood. So at the ripe old age of 23, because that if you go any later than that, you're pretty old, going into Hollywood. Yeah. But I packed up a U-Haul. Didn't bring my car, sold my car, packed up a U-Haul, went to my friend's house, slept on his couch for like a month before a room was ready that I could move into. Going on auditions, I had to borrow his car. It didn't even have first gear, so I had to start, in second gear, driving to all my auditions. Granted, it was a Porsche 911, but
that doesn't suck.
But it was really old. It was a classic. I was like in the 70s.
It had the antique license plate.
Yeah. But, I started out like just very like humbly, with nothing, and was going to my acting classes. And then I landed my first gig, which was 90210, my first speaking role, I guess I should say. And then from there, kind of got into that spelling family. And then I did Love Boat, 2 episodes of that, and continued my acting classes, and going and doing different independent films. And then my big break came with Baywatch. That was series regular lead role. And actually when I auditioned for that, I read for just a smaller role. And I guess, the directors and producers really loved what I did. And they ended up creating a role for me and made me the main lifeguard, love interest of the head male lifeguard. So I actually, ended up getting like this amazing role that they created for me. And that kind of kickstarted everything, and got to move to Hawaii and live in Hawaii. And
that doesn't suck.
It was the best job in the world. I mean,
unreal. And the male, that was Jason Momoa, right? Yeah,
Jason Momoa was on the show.
Okay.
So that was fun, being with him and seeing his, journey, and, starting out from just this young little kid, 21 years old, on this show to where he is now. It's pretty exciting to see his journey, and to see that he's still, like that sweet little kind of innocent kid, to see how he is now. He's still the same, big kid, which is nice to see. But
absolutely.
So that was, kind of the big break where it all started. And then that rolled into, I got Playmate of the Year, which happened when I was on Baywatch. I ended up getting Playmate of the Year. And, from there went on to Starsky and Hutch, with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, and The Nanny Diaries with Scarlett Johansson, The Celebrity Apprentice, and The Surreal Life, and, all the fun, exciting, shows and movies I've been able to do since that.
Yeah. Listen, for the audience, that's a big resume, right? But it started with a gamble, her moving to LA and understanding what she had to do. Right. And for you, that's a big thing, right? Because most people would sit there in that moment and I don't know, for you, it's like, I sold everything. You knew exactly what you needed to do. And a lot of people reference Hernan Cortez, burn the boats, right? You want to make sure if you're going to go and you're going to do something, burn that bridge behind you, or burn that plan B. So that way, plan A is going to absolutely work out. And that's what you did.
Absolutely. That's all I saw in front of me. There was no plan B. But yeah, it's something that I really wanted to do. And there's a lot of rejection, right, in this career. And you go up against a lot of hurdles. And one thing I learned, and I'm such an advocate of self-help type books, anything you can learn. And ever since I can remember as a young teenager, I had been reading every book you can imagine. So, there's so many tools that I learned. And, anytime like a door closed, I would find a window to crawl into. You know what I mean? And you think outside the box, and I would do all the things that no one else was doing. Like, for example, when I go into a casting, no matter what it might be, I would always find something. I'd be searching and looking like, what is this person like? Let me find a connection, because I would always send them a thank you card and a gift. And I would, do something like that. So I'd be memorable. And let me tell you, there were so many times I kept getting called back with that certain casting director for different roles. So that was always working. I mean, even Starsky and Hutch, Todd Phillips, Academy Award winning director, went in for the audition for Starsky and Hutch. Him and Ben Stiller were in the room, and they were like, "Oh my God, we're such huge fans of you on The Surreal Life." They said, "But we love Emmanuel Lewis. Oh my God, we love him. He's so funny, blah, blah, blah." So they were huge fans of Emmanuel Lewis, who was on my season. So I called up Manny, said, Manny, you got to get me an autographed picture of yourself, send it to Todd Phillips and say, hey, hire my girl Brande. So
genius.
So I had him do that. And I got the freaking job. And who knows, was it because of my amazing acting? Yes, of course. But, let's say it was between me and one other person and they really didn't know what to do. That could have put them over the edge. Like, this girl's cool, like to do this out of her way and like make this happen. So I was always and still am thinking of really creative, out of the box types of ways to get what I want.
I love that about you. And it's funny because I've experienced it with you a little bit as well. Right. So we had a mutual contact connect us and we hadn't had any real communication, talked on the phone a couple of times, but you were always so kind. And I was like, this person is my people.
Yeah.
Because I could tell that you're big on the relationship aspect of, let me peel back the layers and see what this guy's about or this individual's about, so I can make sure I nurture this interaction. And I haven't had one interaction with you that has been lifeless.
Right.
Like, and again, like, I mean, right. Think about that though. How many times have you had conversations with somebody? I had a conversation with someone earlier and I'm like, were they there? Like, was I really, so I appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that I definitely, for me, that's very important. I mean, relationships are hugely important. And I like to, when I'm in with someone, I want to connect with them and I want to be in the moment.
Right.
Shutting everything else off. And so you can actually be in the moment with that person, because that's where you're going to have the best experience with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to cover one thing and then I want to get into Wineville. All right. So funnily enough, you and I did not grow up far from each other.
Oh, okay.
I think you're Novato.
You're not like Florida born and raised.
I'm a Cali boy.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in the East Bay. I grew up in Concord.
Well, I mean, my cousin is a Concord police officer. Well, now he's an investigator, but was
cool.
A cop. My uncle is a police officer in Richmond. So all that, like that area, my dad was raised in the Richmond, Concord area. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy. Another crazy thing, when I played baseball in junior college, your college was our biggest rival and we could never beat them.
It
was no.
Or
Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa. Yeah.
Yep. I went to Louisiana and played Division I ball after that, but yeah,
cool.
So small world, right? Like small world, roughly the same area. But all right. So one of the biggest things that you've been able to do in your careers is work multiple projects, multiple careers at one time. You've been super effective at it. Most recently with Wineville, that is streaming everywhere right now. You are not only the director, but you produce the thing too. So walk us through that. That's a big project. And I'm sure it took a lot of your business savviness, your creativeness. Walk the audience through that journey.
It was a crazy journey from start to finish. So it started actually with there was a gentleman who was going to wrote a story, not Wineville, but a previous story. I wanted to do a horror film and he was going to direct it. And, during the whole pre-production process, he went to jail. I mean, that's just to show you or tell you the start of this journey.
You're like, great, here we go.
So I start all over from scratch, find a new director, find a new writer to create and write this new story, which I'm so glad that we did, because now it became my story with the writer, right? It wasn't someone else's story. So we went to the location, which was my friend's winery. He said, yeah, you want to shoot a movie? You can shoot it here. So we went to his winery and, was able to scope out and create the story around the location, around myself and my son, who was going to be playing my son, what kind of characters I wanted us to be. And so we were able to create this story, which was kind of cool. And it made it, logistically easier to shoot. But it was it was a crazy journey. We also were shooting kind of still in that COVID era where you had to still wear masks and still had to go in and test for, to make sure everyone didn't have COVID. Well, the day one of shooting, I was all excited. And then we did our testing, and then our wardrobe gal, the costumer, had freaking COVID. And my film is a period piece. It was based in 1978. So it's not like you could just go down to Walmart, and get some clothes. I mean, it was serious business. So we had to scramble to get someone to replace her for, that first week while she's, masked up in the hotel room. But there was constantly things like that happening. And
wasn't that at the time? Sorry to interrupt. Wasn't that also around the time like SAG? There was an issue with SAG too. You had to get approval to do movies and all types of projects.
Oh,
and
yeah.
things, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Approved because of the COVID, which was another whole crazy thing. And that's, wearing all the hats, being producer and actress and all the things on set. I had to be pulled in so many different directions. Speaking of SAG, last minute we had to do a FaceTime with them while I'm on set trying to do a scene. Had to run in and FaceTime with them. Another day, oh my gosh, one of the prop masters sprayed spray paint in her eyes. We had to deal with getting her to the emergency room. I mean, it really was nonstop. So I don't know how Bradley Cooper does it. He does all those hats too, and those are huge films. But it's a lot to take on everything. I won't do everything next time, but I'll always
learn your lesson
because I like having. I don't want to sound like control freak, but I do like having control of everything and having my say and input into every little thing so that I put my stamp on it and make sure it gets done right. Because I kind of have that little bit of philosophy, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself, or at least delegate very well. But it's, it is my passion. It's my love. As hard as it was and as hard as it is, it doesn't matter, right? Because when you love something and you love doing it, it doesn't feel like work. Is it hard? Absolutely. But it doesn't feel like a job, it's just you're doing something that you love. And I love producing and I love acting.
Well, I love it, because I can look at that, and for the audience, listening or watching is, when things go wrong in our lives, right? We have a choice. We can sit there and we can be mad about it, or we can find the solution. Like day one of shooting for you guys, someone gets COVID, someone gets arrested, now you got to find a new writer before it even, and then, but most people in that moment, they're going to think my project is torched now, right? Because I got to find a new writer, but it worked out in your benefit, right? It worked out. So now it's your story. So no matter what happens in our lives, like I challenge the audience to really listen, rewind back the past, 5 minutes and listen to this over again. Like everything in our lives chronologically, it could be happening to us or for us. And in your instance, you chose to be like, this is happening for me and I'm going to implement something else and make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a very good example of something that went terribly wrong that I could have just spiraled down, but didn't. And took that as an opportunity, and it ended up being so much better. The script was so much better. I mean, the whole experience, everything was so much better because of that bad thing that happened. And it could have went either way. I could have gave up, or I could do what I did and just switch it up and pivot. I find that there's a lot of pivoting in this business or in life in general, right? So, even when it seems like, oh my God, how could this get any better or worse? Or now I'm done. No, just freaking pivot, man, and do something else and just figure out a way to get it done. So,
I agree with that, and I think that's one of the things that gets people like stuck, right? Is because they get caught in the emotion of the actual thing that is going on. And I think at some point, Brande, to be truthful, like and honest with everybody, we all feel that way momentarily. High performers, though, they go, all right, I got to do this anyways, right? And how can I systematically and just, piece by piece move forward instead of staying stuck in that moment? What are some of the things that you do in your own mind and I know you've been working on, the self-improvement for a very long time, right?
Mhm.
How it, once you get in a moment where you're stuck, how do you work out of it very quickly?
Well, think about the alternatives,
Mhm.
which you never want. You don't want
Nope.
the alternative, which is to not move forward. Um, and I really, I'm a big, meditator. I will say, like in the morning, if I don't meditate and do my gratitude list and all the things that I love to do in the morning, I will feel a little bit lost. But once I get
Mm.
grounded again and I do that, sometimes things just become clear, and I'll write stuff down and I just get calm and I think about what I need to do
I
and
love that.
I get creative.
Mm.
Um, and now, shoot, we have Chat GBT or whatever. We don't even have to like rack our brains so much like we
Yeah.
used to, with our little cloud circle, and we put it, and then all the things to
All the
brainstorm
word
that we used
clusters,
to do.
the brainstorming.
Yes, we don't have to do that anymore. Now we have
Yeah.
our AI to help us brainstorm,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
now we have all these tools that make it even easier for us to succeed, which
Yeah.
is so cool. But yeah, no, sitting down, getting clear, and writing shit down, and figuring out your next move. And when you start doing that brainstorming and start listening and reading or listening to self-help books, it really helps to trigger what you need to do next. It will come
Yeah.
to you because it's in there. You just have to clear it out and get creative with it, and it's going to come out.
I think it's just super important to your point about whether you meditate or you go for a walk or run or lift
Mhm.
some weights,
Yeah.
do whatever. When I find that I don't work out first thing in the morning, I'm completely like, it's hard for me to ground, right? So for
Yeah.
instance, last night I was feeling sick. There's a stomach bug going around and my kids have it. And I was like feeling queasy. I'm like, wife goes, you are not going to work out in the morning. You are going to get some sleep. You're going to sleep until 6 a.m. and you have a recording. So you're not going to the gym. Like, I need you to take care of, not the point she was trying to control, but like she wanted me to take care of myself. Right. And all day I'm not, it's like those moments where I'm like, okay, I'm not completely grounded. And so I had to go walk
Right.
around the block for 15 minutes,
There you go.
and reground myself. So
Yep.
to your point there, it's like for the audience listening, the takeaway is whatever grounds you, go do it.
Totally.
Right. Because
What?
once you get into that, like you disconnect from the issue.
Yeah.
You don't have the issue anymore. You can work through it and be like, the solution's over here. I'm going to walk that way. I'm going to go
Yeah.
towards it. Right.
Yeah. And everybody, it's not going to be the same for everyone. Everyone needs to find out what that thing is that's going to help them to feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whether it's meditating, doing gratitude practice, affirmations, visualizations, working out, walking, grounding. You have to
Mhm.
find journaling. You have to find something that really you connect with, because you need to do that every day. Whatever it is that is making you feel connected and grounded, you need to do that. Speaking of grounding, it's so funny because last night I was Googling grounding shoes because one of my books is talking about grounding. And now that,
Uh-huh.
there's grounding shoes. So I'm like, they even have grounding shoe kits, because
No way.
where you can make your own like leather bound sandals or whatever. But there's so much
Okay.
now. And I'm like, I'm going to freaking do that. I don't care how ugly they are. I'm going to get me some freaking grounding shoes and walk everywhere. Because even outside my house, my grass is fake turf on, that surrounds like the immediate
Yeah.
part of my house. And you have to be touching the earth, right? To get that magnetic energy to really,
Yeah.
make you feel good and make you healthy and your immunity and all that. So I'm checking out these grounding shoes. So everyone should check.
Knowing you'll probably look at them and
Yeah.
go, I can make them better. And you'll start a new venture.
That's maybe, because that's what I was thinking last time. I was like, well, I would just make some, because then I know they're really authentic and real, and you're not, order something from Amazon, you don't know if it's real or not. So
Exactly. It's funny because like you're talking about grounding. I've never really done it. Sometimes I'll walk outside if I'm walking my dogs at night because I'm too lazy to put my shoes on. I'm like, let me see how this feels. And I don't really take the opportunity to connect with it. Right. I'm going to try it though, because like you said, like the benefit.
There's documentaries on it that I've seen where they actually, there was one on Netflix where the doctor did the testing and saw their body and all their body waves, and they were just very low in energy. And then they went outside for 10 minutes on the ground with just their feet on the grass, walking, came back, and everything was heightened. It was like all their levels went up and this person was healthier just walking out for 10 minutes on the ground. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Pretty
Unbelievable. Cool. I love it. I love it. Let's get back to Wineville, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody, go watch it.
Yes,
go watch it.
It's my baby. It was it's a horror film. It's not for the faint at heart at all. So don't watch it with kids for sure.
Oh no. Yeah. I don't, my wife either. She, if it's not a romantic comedy, Brande, she's out. She's I'm the sicko in the household, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. I like the crime thrillers. I like the horror films to an extent.
Yes.
But like, it is your baby. And I want you to take the time to talk to the audience about it. Say what you can. I don't want you to ruin the movie for anybody, but definitely like talk about your passion project, because this is something, again, it's your first time directing and producing it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big freaking deal.
Yeah. Well, it's based in 1978 because that genre of films for me was like pivotal. Like that's just what my family loved. We grew up on Texas Chainsaw Massacre and even Psycho, which Psycho was in the 60s, but that kind of feeling of old school horror. And this film and the script really lent itself to being a period piece. And, I wanted to kind of bring back that feel. So, it's my character, Tess, she ran away when she's about 15 years old because of some horrific things that happened to her at her, family home, which is on a vineyard in Southern California. But she ran away to Las Vegas, and years later, she got a call that her father had passed away, and now she has an 11-year-old son and has to come back and take care of the family estate. And when she comes back, she learns that everything has just darkened and festered and gotten worse. And now not only does she have to escape herself, but now she has to do everything she can to save her son. Will they get out alive? I don't know. But it's really,
you'll have to tune in.
Really messed up, screwed up serial killer family. And
I love that.
That is, my jam. Like I even in college, I took a course on serial killers and how they grew up and what makes them who they are. And I'm kind of obsessed with that type of thing.
So it's funny because like I'm kind of sick like that too.
Yeah.
Like I like watching, if I get a new, like a Netflix documentary on Charles Manson or the Zodiac. I mean, cause that's where we grew up. Like, dude, like that shit happened within 40 minutes of where we live.
I know.
Or live.
Petaluma. I mean, it was like all over those areas.
Vallejo.
I know. Oh my gosh. What about Marine World? Hey.
Marine World. That's where you go. Yeah. That's where the Zodiac hung out. It's crazy to me, but like those things, like those, chronicling those types of killers, like, and it's great because when we do passion projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we do things that you're doing with Wineville and, you start with like what you're really interested in, and it's interesting that you went down that path.
Yeah.
How did that creative process work with you? I mean, like afterwards, were you super excited? Did you go down like because I've never acted, right? So I don't like getting into a character or getting into like a storyline. How does that work for you?
Well, as far as acting goes, the storyline, it's not like it was, Academy Award, worthy story acting, because my character, I was a single mom, with an 11-year-old, 12-year-old son. And guess what? In real life, I'm a single mom with an 11, 12-year-old son. I'll do anything to protect my son. So the acting was not far-fetched. Like, I will freaking kill for my kid, right? Like,
good.
So, that's there already. So I got lucky that this character is a mom like myself. So that part, was easy. But the creative process coming up with the story was fun because I get my sick and twisted mind from my mom. So her and I were constantly going back with ideas about how this serial killer family should be because of all of our knowledge from, watching so many sick and twisted films to my knowledge of, taking the classes in college. But it was a fun process doing that with my mom going back and forth. Of course, I did it with the writer and I went back and forth, but then I'd go and get ideas for my mom. And, so that was a lot of fun.
Hey, Mom, doing this movie on serial killers. Let's collaborate.
She was like, yes, like that's her. I mean, my very first horror film, I was 6 years old watching The Exorcist with my mother on the couch.
Oh, geez.
What kind of sick mom has her kid watch The Exorcist at 6 years old? I mean, not even just the scary part of it, but if you remember Aaron Blair, saying, F me, stabbing herself with a crucifix in her vagina, and here I am watching going, what the
Hey,
heck?
Mom, pass the popcorn, It's funny because like I don't have that exact same type of story, but I do have something like me and my mom used to watch Friday together, like almost every day. It's like, how fucked up is that? Like I'm sitting there watching, like I'm in high school, right? At the most impressionable age. And my mom's like, yeah, let's watch Friday together. They're sitting on the porch smoking weed. And meanwhile, I'm 16, 17 years old. Like she didn't think that maybe my son's going to want to do this.
Oh my God. That's so funny. So Friday, my nephew, I say my nephew, but my brother's dog is named Debo. And people think it's from, Debo from the 49ers, but it's really Debo from Friday.
Yeah, like that's funny. Like, no, definitely Debo from Friday. But so like I used to watch, and my parents, when I was young, used to watch America's Most Wanted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, me too. That was our jam. I love that.
Dude.
I wanted to recreate a new show kind of similar to that, which I'll tell you later. Because I was so influenced by that show so much, right? And the best part of that show was you'd watch it, and at the end, you would wait to see, did they capture him? And you'd always hope, because then it would show you, we captured blah, blah, blah. And you always wanted to see if they captured him at the end of the story.
Until they freaking didn't, and you learn that the killings were happening in your area, and you're like 8 years old. I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to go to bed.
Polly Klaus, right? Petaluma, right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Oh, so it's kind of a little sick. We had a lot of sick stuff going on in Northern California.
Yeah, our generation's just destroyed, isn't it? Good Lord. Watching The Exorcist and America's Most Wanted and Friday with their mom.
I know.
Cool, man. Really cool. Yeah. And here we are now, and I'm like not letting my son watch. Like, is that what is that? Is that PG or PG-13? Like, what are we watching? Okay, you're 11, you can watch that, right?
Right.
But like, I'm definitely more on it. But in the same token, there was movies that my parents would go out to see in the movie theater before I went and watched them.
Yeah.
They went and watched Major League. Remember Charlie Sheen?
Oh yeah.
I'm a baseball guy. I want to go see that movie. They went and saw it just to make sure it was appropriate for me. And then let me go see it.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's like, guys, good Lord.
Yeah.
But hey, childhood was good. Was good.
That made us who we are today, the sick and twisted individuals we are.
That's why we're so creative.
Very well-rounded.
Very well-rounded. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Kicking ass. This is great.
Yep.
So what's next, Brande? Like what you have any new projects you're thinking about? Where are we going here?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely heavily out, getting the word out about Wineville, but out my book of all the films and TV shows and everything that I want to do. So as soon as I'm done out promoting Wineville, I'm going to kind of, see where I'm at in my life and which one of these projects do I want to spend the next 2 years working on, because I have so many. I'm a very creative person, and every time I have all these ideas and stuff happens. Oh, that'd be funny for this show, and that's this and that. Oh, and that's nice and sick. Whatever it might be. I love comedy and I love horror, suspense, drama. But anyway, I'm always creating and writing stuff down. So I have my book of stuff. So when the time comes, I'm really going to sit down and where do I want to spend the next 2 years of my life on?
I love it. In the meantime, as far as getting the word out about Wineville, talk to the audience. I know it's everywhere, but specifically direct them on where to go, because if I know the audience, starts to key in on certain things that we talk about, and they're going to want to go watch it.
Yeah. Amazon, Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Tubi. And then for all of you, for all the old school horror people, they like DVDs. So I sell autographed DVDs along with a picture. And that's on the website, which is winevillemovie.com. And that's always fun to have. So yeah, I just would, cool. Go support, an independent filmmaker. And if we all supported each other in all of our dreams, then we'd all be living the dream, right?
Yeah, I think it's important. I don't want to glance over that, right? Because that's an important thing. There's so many people that are doing their own thing and focusing on their own thing and not really rooting somebody else along, right? I don't think there's when that happens, like the energetic flow gets cut off, right? I listen to other podcasts. I support my friends. I promote their stuff. I'll share things sometimes, from another show. They're like, oh my God, you didn't have to do that. I'm like, what do you mean? You're my friend and you're doing a great job. Like, how have you continued? Because you've done a lot of great things, like continue to keep that at the core value of you and sharing for others.
I don't know if it's just something internal or what it is, but this very exact thing, I have this conversation with other filmmakers, independent filmmakers. There are so many of us that if we all, just our independent filmmakers, supported each other and went and watched each other's movies, guess what? We would all be a success. That's how simple it is. That if we all just support each other in what we love and in our dreams, we will be successful. We just have to get everybody else to understand this, because it's so true. I support my fellow filmmakers not only by watching their films, but like you just said, I share their movies with people. I want them to be successful. It's just something that we should all really try and do, is to support each other, because it's all going to come back.
Yeah, I think it's important, right? Because like when we all break it down, really what it is, it's art. And what I do is an art, what you do is an art, and we all want to feel seen and heard. But how can we ever expect to feel seen and heard if we're not seeing and hearing others?
Exactly.
And supporting them.
Absolutely. 100%. Yep.
Yeah, I'm big on that.
You can't take. You have to give.
Yeah, exactly. I got somebody that I want to connect you with. They recently put out a really good independent film, and then I want to put your movie in his hands, and do kind of like a thing. So like you guys are both watching each other. Like it's exactly what we're talking about, right?
Exactly. 100%.
So the audience, I want you guys to really go check this movie out, right? And I want you to share it with people. Sit down with some friends and keep talking about Wineville, because there's amazing things going on in Brande's career and things that she's doing. We want to support it. That's why we have her on the show. We want to promote Wineville. Big deal, So
yes, appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on and sharing your journey, first and foremost, about just who you are as a person and some of the things that you believe in. Because what I do know, people that love about the show, The Determined Society, is when people like you come on the show, they don't just talk about their movies and their projects, and they talk about who they are. There's a sense of connection there. Yeah. Right. And I know you truly connected with my audience today, because a lot of your core values are what we talk about here. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Well, I really enjoyed it. I loved being able to get to know you better and having this fun conversation. So we'll see you maybe in June when you come out here. So
I will, as soon as I know, I will give you a call and let you know when I'm going to be out there, what dates, so we can connect. Even if it's for a drink, whatever, we'll be able to connect.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. One more question though, before we land the plane here. Yeah, one more big question.
All right.
So the show is called The Determined Society. And when I created the show, it was by accident. It was just a Facebook group. It turned into a top podcast on Spotify and Apple. And the premise has always been, me personally, wanted to wake up in a society that woke up and chased their dreams no matter how they felt emotionally about it. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, what does determination truly mean to Brande Roderick?
Ooh, well, determination to me is going after. This might be just kind of what you just said, but really,
and that's okay.
Determination to me is being determined to go after what I want, whether it's a dream or something simple that day, and not giving up and going and doing anything I need to do to get that thing accomplished.
I love it. And it's very simple, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people in the audience, I really want to pay attention here is we see this big goal, right? Producing and directing your own movie. If you looked at that goal and it's like you're standing at the base of the mountain and you're looking up, you're like, oh shit, there's no way. That's a big mountain, right? And what I want people to understand is doing the small things every day, right? Yep. You don't have to go from A to Z every single day. You can go from A to B. And as long as you move forward, there's no such thing as staying the same. You either move forward or you go backwards. That's truly how I feel, right? Yeah. And I know a lot of people out there will contest that. That's fine. That's fine. They can do that. But for me, you either move forward or you get worse. And as long as you take the steps and you get out of your own head, right, then it's a successful day, right? And people define their days, well, I didn't win today. Or did you, right? Because people define wins, they have to feel like people are clapping for them for it to feel like a win. And people like you, people like me understand that even doing one thing that's going to move that proverbial football down the field a little bit, that's the win. That's the journey.
Absolutely. Right? You have to have all the little wins and those steps to get to that goal. You can't, Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Look, it's so funny because people say, oh, that's a cliche. Well, yeah, for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
For a very good reason. You cannot build Rome in a day, right?
Right.
So I really enjoyed this conversation with you. You're my people, my friend, straight up. Jacked about this new friendship.
NorCal, cool. Man.
Yeah, NorCal. So, dude. But so thank you again. I look forward to meeting you in person soon. And for the audience, I want you to look at the deeper meaning of today's episode, right? It's always about moving forward in the moment, no matter how you feel in that current state, whether you feel bad or feel good. There is a goal that you have set, and it is your job to move forward no matter what. Doesn't matter how you feel. What matters is that you move forward on your dreams. Until next time, stay determined.
Shawn French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time, I confirmed it. A whole society determined for sure.